Agenda Rights. It's me, Mr. B. You know who I am, and I'm sure you know who my partner in crime is on my side. Jay, it's been so long. How you doing, big man?
I'm good. I'm good. It's good to see you again, Mr. B. And apologies, man. Yeah, it feels like it's been years because we used to do quite a lot of regular podcasts, didn't we? But life gets in the way sometimes. So it has been a little while. So yeah, it's good to see you again, man. Looking well, and the beard as well. Do you know what? Right? It's funny because someone was on a podcast earlier, and someone jumps on it and said like, "Oh, I miss Jay's beard because I had a lockdown beard." But the problem I had with my beard, right, is you've got a proper beard there. Like you're looking like a sort of a Black Father Christmas. I ain't gonna lie, like that is a proper beard. Yeah, there's no little gaps there. That is a thick beard. And mine was one of those, right, where I grew it dead long, but when you like scratch beneath the surface, when you looked up close, there was a little few, you could see gaps there. It wasn't quite. Do you know what I mean? Wasn't giving the Mr. B vibes of like a beard you could set your clock to. Mine was a little bit like. It was a bit sketchy, so it worked all right in lockdown because I had like months to grow it, so it grew like quite long. But then once lockdown ended, I got rid of it.
Off.
It was a lockdown thing, man. It had to go. It had to go.
Well, look, it's been ages. Look, so much has happened in between. Look, we'll talk about what's going on today, but before I go, I just want to get your thoughts on obviously the whole. I'm not going to say INEOS saga, because it's not really a saga, but the whole INEOS situation. So look, we found out today that another manager just turned us down in the summer, which was kept quiet. Sebastian Holness now. So that's another one that we've been linked to. It seemed that we just couldn't get rid of Ten Hag. I'm glad he's in. I'm glad he was in, or he's in. They kept him, but they just seemed that he was in by default now. Do you think that puts even more pressure on the whole situation with him now?
I feel like with Ten Hag, you almost get to the point where no matter what happens, he's almost at maximum amount of pressure almost, because it feels like everything about what's going on with Erik Ten Hag in a minute is like just almost like breaking point. It's like he's just below breaking point because it's like the results, you feel like if he gets one more bad result, even the Brentford game, he could be done for. You feel like INEOS have let him know in the summer when he's looking at other managers that they weren't maybe 100% behind him. Now there's more stories about other managers being looked at. There's still managers that are apparently sort of circling as rumours that maybe Thomas Tuchel could still be approached because he's been linked with the England job and that Manchester United want to get in there first before the FA do. You've got these sort of rumours, one or two players, like, are they 100% behind him? It just feels almost like there's no more pressure you can add on because it's just almost like we've reached peak or the maximum amount of pressure now you can get to until it gets to breaking point. So with the whole Sebastian Holness thing, the trouble is as well, like, is another issue you've got. And you'll know this because you're on a United channel and you cover a lot of the news that's circulating around Manchester United. It feels when you get to a point where a manager's under this much pressure and there's that many critics and there's that many questions around him, that journalists can almost run any story and people will believe it. You could run a story saying that Manchester United are looking at almost anyone. Like Manchester United are looking at bringing back, I don't know, David Moyes, and people would be like, oh yeah, you know what, like, I can't believe looking at David Moyes, but they believe that story because it's like any story at the minute with Manchester United and with the pressure under Ten Hag, people kind of believe it. So with the Holness one, I looked at it, is it true? I don't know. A couple of outlets are reporting it. No one I'd really hang my hat on unless I've missed that. It might be, but it just adds to this air that everything at the minute is going wrong for Ten Hag and INEOS don't really fancy the geezer. And you're going to see a little bit of mischief making by some journalists who write stories that aren't 100% accurate, but you will see stories that are true and that do indicate that this manager is under pressure. And I think the most amount of pressure you can be on as a manager is where the next game is it. And it feels like he's at that stage, rightly or wrongly. It feels like if he lost to Brentford, would we be surprised if that was the breaking point? Like, genuinely? Like, it feels like that. It might not be. He could lose to Brentford and keep his job, but it does feel like we're entering that stage now where, any result, the next result could be the last one for him. And we've been here before as United fans. You've obviously been here, you know, a lot longer than I have. You remember what it was before the Busby years, which obviously you remember the Magnol era of the old sort of the title winning the side 1909. You were there, I think, but you know what it's like. It's like everyone, you know, where these managers, every manager we've had post of Alex Ferguson, where you get that sense that this is it. This is getting to that point now where the next game could be the last. Unfortunately, we saw it with Jose at Anfield. We saw it with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, Vicarage Road. We saw it with David Moyes at Goodison Park. You can see it coming. Louis van Gaal's last game might have been the FA Cup final, but you sensed it after that defeat at Bournemouth, after that defeat at Stoke. This is the end. You might not get sacked straight away, but this is the sort of end. And it feels like we're getting there with Erik ten Hag. And I say this all the time. I say it on Stretford Paddock. I say it on Scott Motta. I hope I'm wrong. I hope he turns it around. I hope he goes on a winning run now. But I just get the sense that he's almost a dead man walking.
You think that's down to his stubbornness, his tactics, or the players not saying not wanting to do it, because it doesn't look like they've given up? Do you think it's a tactical issue with Eric?
I think it might be a little bit of both, because there's certain elements where you look and you go, okay, that can't be tactical. Look at the Brighton game, for example. That late goal we conceded. You've played football. Have you ever known a manager that's told you not to mark people in the box when there's a cross comes in? Like, oh yeah, here's the tactics. We're going to leave 3 men at the back post unmarked. Make sure you leave 3 Brighton players unmarked. There's no way on God's earth that the manager told them to do that. They did it because they switched off. But then the flip side to that is there are points where you go, tactically, has this manager got it right? Like, a good example for me would be the Porto game. I was over in Portugal for the Porto game. Now, Marcus gets hooked at half time, yeah? And apparently it's defensively. He's not happy with his defensive work. Now, you can agree with that or disagree with it. I personally disagree with it. But you also look at it from a tactical point of view where you can go, can the tactics help out a player, help out the team a little bit better? Because you've got Diogo Dalot tucking in. You've got Lisandro Martinez, who's obviously struggling to cover that amount of ground. Can you make a little bit of a switch more than just bringing Sop and Garnacho for Marcus? I mean, is the tactics there wanting it as well as maybe the players not doing what they should be doing? Also, you go a bit further back to the Crystal Palace game. United are dominating the game. We're having all the possession, especially in Palace's in the final third. Xerxes, Ericsson, and Diallo, I think, in particular, causing problems. And then in the space of 10 minutes, you've taken all 3 players off. That, for me, was a little bit foolhardy from Ten Hag because it sort of shifted the balance of the game for those last 25, 30 minutes. It went from being United dominating to being a little bit more even to being Palace actually looking for a winner. There's a little bit of naivety, I think, at times with, if I can use the word naivety, with Erik ten Hag. So, yes, the players need to do better. Yes, there's times when, you know, Erik ten Hag's not telling the players not to pick up players, not to pick up people, not to you know, you can't blame Erik ten Hag when we're wasting chances. But you can blame him when we're not creating enough chances. You can blame him where there's gaps there because of the way he set up his team. So I think it's a little bit of both, to be honest with you.
Stressing. That's all he's done for us. He's giving us stress. More stress. Evans. There's rumors that he's as good a player as he is. There's rumors that he's going to be in that left back against Brentford. He can do a part job, I suppose, but considering the club knew the situation with Luke Shaw, look, there's no point in going all the way back into that whole playing for England malarkey. He's not available. Malassia's not available. Do you think that the club should have done something more in regard to that specific position? Because a lot of the goals that have been scored against us have been opposition right side, our left side. Obviously, they've been targeting that side, maybe with Martinez's height and the fact that we don't have a proper left back. It's causing us a whole load of problems.
Yeah, I think that I said this pre-season, like I was surprised that we didn't get a left back in. And I like Nusayr Mazraoui. But I felt it was a bit weird that we were focusing on a right back when we had 2 right backs and we didn't have anyone available at left back. I like Harry Hamas. I saw a lot of him in pre-season. We chatted to him in pre-season, but he's still only a kid. He's still only 17. And obviously Eric Ten Hag's decided that he's not ready yet. And I understand that. I understand sort of being a little bit cautious with a 17-year-old because playing in the Premier League is completely different to playing in pre-season. I think when you're playing in pre-season, it's easy. There's a little bit less pressure. The standard isn't the same. I know you might be playing, even if you're playing against Premier League teams, the Liverpool team we played against isn't the same as the Liverpool team you're going to play against, or you could have played against the other week. So there is a difference there. And I get that probably from Eric Ten Hag's point of view, he was told that Luke Shaw would be back, probably told that Tyrone Malacia would be back. But I don't think that... I think maybe United should have been a little bit more savvy around that because he'd been told that last January, I think, that Luke Shaw was going to be ready. He was told that Tyrone Malacia wasn't far off, and neither of them were. Neither of them were ready, and we ended up with a bit of a sort of makeshift back four again, where you end up with Delo at left back, which I'm not a massive fan of. I know it's a needs must that Wan-Bissaka was left back for big chunks of last season, if you remember. We even ended up with Anthony there at one point, only for about half an hour. But it shows you that we were struggling at left back. So, again, it did surprise me, in answer to your question. It did surprise me that we didn't go out and get a left back. And now we're in this situation, which I think a lot of us feared, a lot of us almost expected, where we'd have to shift players around. And now with Mazraoui out, obviously Delo can't play left and right back. So if he's going to go over to the right, who are you going to play on the left? Johnny Evans can read the game as well as anyone in the squad. Can that make up for his lack of pace? I don't know. If I'm being brutally honest, I love Johnny Evans. I don't know. Lisandro Martinez can obviously play at left back. It's not his position, but you can play him there. Can he get a little bit exposed though? It's not ideal. It's a difficult one because we've seen, in last season we saw, I think Sofian Amrabat was playing there. I know he's not around anymore. This season we saw Toby Collier playing there, but that was only against, was it Barnsley? So that doesn't really tell you anything. So it's just frustrating because I think for a lot of us, we saw it coming. We saw it coming, and then we knew there was going to be an issue at left back because you can't rely on Tyrone Malacia and Luke Shaw, and that's what's happened. And unfortunately for us, it's a game where now you're in the situation where Eric Ten Hag, like I said earlier, is under a lot of pressure, and he's going to have to go into this game against a very good Brentford team. Let's not forget, we can dismiss Brentford, but they're a good team, and you're going to have to do it with a makeshift back four again. We're here again, so yeah, it's difficult, man. Chat Sports says Martinez would get sent off at left back. He's not a left back, is he? I mean, you can put him there, but he's not a left back. And also, Martinez this season hasn't looked right. He's just not. I love Lisandro Martinez, but there's something not 100% about him at the minute. You saw him in Portugal where he got took off. He was getting he wasn't just getting bullied. I think he's getting bullied a little bit, but even like his passing and shooting and everything just looked off. Like he was shooting like from range, and I just thought, "What are you doing?" And yeah, he's not. I saw him against. It happened. I think it was against Liverpool, where he just gave the ball away, and he got away with it. But it was like a real sloppy pass that you don't really associate with him. So we've seen glimpses of the normal Martinez, who's mint, but then also he just looks a little bit off it as well. So throwing him in at left back, it worries me a little bit at this current sort of state of Lisandro Martinez.
And that brings us kindly right onto the Alvaro Fernandez. Obviously, we had him at the club. I did see you a little bit earlier on talking about him. We had him at the club. We let him go for 5 million, which is something that the club were doing. They've got a buyback now for 16.5 mil. Obviously, Liverpool, Real Madrid, and Barcelona are all interested in him now for 50 mil or 40 mil. Was that a mistake that the club made in letting him go?
Sorry, go on. Sorry.
So yeah, sorry. And for me, I don't think Ten Hag fancied him anyway. And would he want to come back? Everybody's talking up. There's rumors. It's all started. It all starts. That we're interested and we want to take it. He might not even want to come back. What do you think the situation is with that? And was it a real error in letting him go?
I think you've got to be honest about Alvaro Fernandez. How many times you watched Alvaro Fernandez play? Like, genuinely. I don't know. Have you watched a lot of him?
No.
I haven't. Like, I'm not in a position to give you a real educated or honest answer, to be honest with you, because I've not watched a lot of the kid. I saw a little bit of him in the under-21s, but that was a couple of years ago. I saw a little bit of him when he was at loan at Preston, I think it was. Not a lot. I've seen a little bit of him at Benfica. He looks all right. Do I know whether 100% he was Eric Ten Hag was wrong to get rid of him? I don't. Now, some people in the chat or whatever might have watched a lot of him and they might say, you know what, Jay, 100% he can come in at left back and do a job for us. Fair enough. I just don't know. I don't know. So it's easy to look at players when they've gone and gone. He was a player we shouldn't have let go. And I hear this all the time. James Garner went to Everton and people lost their minds because we only got 11 million for him. And then he was struggling for a little bit at Everton at one point. He's not now, but there was a time when I spoke to a few Evertonians and he was just sort of finding his feet. I remember the noise that used to be around Donny van der Beek. Used to be like Donny van der Beek's the answer to all our problems. And, he was struggling when he went on loan as well. Hannibal Mejbri was another one everyone used to rave about. He went on loan and, didn't quite set the world alight. I know he's obviously moved on permanently now. So it's easy to look at a player that's gone out and gone, okay, we should have kept hold of him. The answer is we should have kept hold of him. He's good enough. I just don't know whether he is or not. I don't know what it was with the manager. The manager didn't want him, didn't fancy him, didn't give him a chance. Did he see something in training? A couple of people may I don't know, but questioned whether he had the pace for the Premier League. I don't know how accurate that is, to be honest with you. But I just feel with Fernandez, we've got a 20 million euro buyback clause for us. There's a 50 million euro buyback clause for everyone else. If he would come back and if we wanted him, then you could make that deal happen. But I don't know if he would or not. He might sort of feel a little bit his nose bent out of shape because he went from Real Madrid to United and didn't get a sniff at either, and then went on loan. I know he was only a kid when he was at Madrid, and then went on loan and loaned out a few times, wasn't he? And he might just feel like, look, if I am going to move from Benfica to somewhere else, it's not going to be back to Manchester United. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. I think you can look at almost any left back. Someone in the chat was mentioning Regulon. You could look at him. Or should we have got him back? Should we have got? I don't know. I know it's a bit of a stretch because obviously he had issues, the kid. But Brandon Williams, whatever. I've heard all sorts of names being bandied about. I'm not advocating that, by the way. I'm just saying it's easy to look at the players that have gone and gone. Should we have kept hold of him? I just go back to my original point a few minutes ago that I was surprised we didn't buy a left back. I thought it was an area that we should have gone with. And I don't know whether there's a little bit of... Is loyalty the right word with Eric Ten Hag and Malacia, where he just thinks, I've got to give him a chance to get back? Because obviously if you buy a left back, you've probably got 3 left back. When everyone's fit, you've probably got 1 too many. And he might have looked at him and thought, I don't need to do that.
Yabba, welcome.
Yes, greetings, everyone. Sorry I'm late. Summer had to work, and not a day of leisure like you two. Finishing up. What time do you finish today, Mr. P?
A very good time. We'll just leave it at that. We'll just leave it at that.
What time did you finish?
I just finished at 8 o'clock.
Did you? So where are you now?
I'm at home now.
Oh, it must be nice to be at home.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. That must be nice. Some of us finished work and then had to go on the United agenda, so we're still in the studio. You know what I mean? Kids are at home, not had a bedtime story. Tea's on the table. Mrs. is fuming with me because it's all cold. I'm still in the studio to come on United agenda, and I've got Yabba Forms, whatever name this is you call it nowadays. He's popping on a chat from the comfort of his living room, showing me his gold CDs and all that, giving it the big one about how he's had to work.
Hey, but you've got your strength of paddock thing on the back, man. But you get your stripes. You've got your Man United agenda stripes. I'll give you that. For that commitment.
Okay. I only come on this channel to plug Stretford Paddock.
Yeah.
You know that? See what I mean? That's the only reason. Let's not getting twisted. I had to make sure I'm branded
great to see you, man. Great to see you, bro.
Good to see you, bro. It's been
just quickly. How's the running going?
Yeah, it's all right, man. I went for a little 10K yesterday. I'm trying to do 15K.
Little 10K.
Well, no, do you know what? I don't know why I say little 10K, right? Because 10K is the maximum amount of distance I run. So it's the most I run. It's not like I went for a little 10K and then the day before I did 20K. I never do more than 10K. That's my maximum. But yeah, I still enjoy it. I'll be honest with you. I don't tell anyone. It's nice to get out of the house for an hour.
Yeah.
Do Do you know what I mean?
Good on you.
Get
Good on you. You're looking well. You're looking well.
Thank you. I appreciate that, man.
You know what it is, Mr. B? I always look at Jay. I know he lives up north and it's always grey and grim up there, but he always looks like tanned. Well, look at me. Look at my complexion to his. He's golden and brown, you know?
£6 sweaty for 9 minutes standing up at the local Fantastic. You can't go wrong. Like, listen, people think, oh, you can't go on a sunbed when you're a black man. Come on. You can. You can when you're mixed race and you've got like this complexion. Top it up. Don't be too proud.
See, guys, that's golden and this is bland. You know, we're both mixed. And look at us. I mean, and then we've got Mr. B. I mean, look, we've got 3 different hands right here.
We've got 3 different hands, but yours is all natural. Mine's semi-natural. I'm cheating. I'm using a cheat code.
Quick, yeah. I know you're talking about the left back situation. You probably covered all that. I just want to touch on something I've just been reading now. I don't know if it's comical, if it's true. Paul Gascoigne. Have you heard this one, Jay? So Paul Gascoigne basically saying he's called on United to bring back Ferguson for 1 more season if they decide to part ways with Ten Hag. He said, looking at Ten Hag, I feel sorry for him a bit. I would love Alex Ferguson to take over for 1 more season just to see what he could do with those players, because I think some of them are taking the mickey, what he says, the PISS, out of Ten Hag. He said, you've got to give the man a bit of respect, and it's such a massive club. I don't think some of the players realise who they are playing for, as in Manchester United Football Club. Gazza, I mean, what do you think about that?
Listen, we all love Sir Alex Ferguson. Miss Man United, that's my lady friend in the chat. Yeah, so she just joined us. She just missed me saying how much I'm looking forward to getting home. And how much I miss her and love her. And these two have kept me at the studio.
Apologies.
So, I think, listen, it's a soundbite in it. I think if you were to actually scratch believe for service, he probably doesn't fully believe that. And also, I love Sir Alex Ferguson. We all love Sir Alex Ferguson. The man is 80 years old, is he, or whatever he is? He had a brain hemorrhage a few years ago. We don't need to be putting him in the dressing room to solve the problems that Manchester United have got right now, yeah? He's retired. He's happily retired. He's lost his wife. He's trying to relax, enjoy himself. It's not the answer. It's to bring this, octogenarian or whatever it is, forgive me, I'm getting his age wrong, back into the Manchester United dressing room when we're sat in 40. If he's 82 years old, we're sat in 14th in the league. He don't need that in his life. Do you know what I mean? It's up to INEOS to find a manager. Either back this manager if you believe in him, if you think he's the right one. I know they have backed him, but stick with him. Or find another manager. I don't think bringing in Sir Alex Ferguson at 82 years of age after he's lost his wife and had a brain hemorrhage is the answer to Manchester United problems. I think Fergie should be sat in the stands with Sir Jim Ratcliffe in there and enjoying his retirement and hopefully enjoying Manchester United winning some football matches. But I understand Gazza's, having maybe a little bit.
You know what, Jay? Jay, what I take out of that is that he's saying here that the players are taking the mickey out of Ten Hag. And I think he's trying to say that Alex Ferguson demonstrated that he wouldn't take this player power. So he's indicating, in my opinion, as a former player, that the players are really they're the ones who are responsible. He thinks Ten Hag's respectful and a good manager. As Benny McCarthy said, he's tactically good. We're hearing some good stuff about Ten Hag as a manager. So I think he's trying to make a point there to the players. You're at the top club. Turn it around, guys. It's up to you. The manager's decent enough, because there's been so much Ten Hag out stuff. You must have heard it on your channel every day. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. I don't know what your thoughts on that.
Listen, the thing is, I think we always go to that default setting, don't we? Like, the players need a kick up the backside. The players need a bit of that. Last season, we were hearing that part of the issue at the club, and this is from respected sources, journalists who had good sources, who know what they're on about, saying that it felt like it wasn't good cop, bad cop at Manchester United. It was bad cop with Erik ten Hag and Mitchell van der Gaag. Like, they were proper, disciplinarians. That wasn't the issue. It wasn't that you needed someone to come in there and crack the whip. You had plenty of that. Maybe you needed someone to go a little bit more softly. And that was a role that perhaps Steve McLaren filled. He was a bit more sort of friendlier than some of the other coaches in there. I think Rennie Hacker's come in with a reputation of being quite strict, quite authoritarian. You saw the video of him doing the rounds when he arrived, where he was absolutely laying into the kid who got that red card. Ruud van Nistelrooy, we all love Ruud. He never, ever suffered fools gladly as a player and as a manager. You saw how he was at PSV and the way he acted there. I think he's been a little bit more sort of, let's say, a little bit kinder, shall we say, for want of a better expression, since he's come back to Manchester United, perhaps. But this strikes me as a dressing room that's got enough sort of people in there who can tell you about yourself. I don't think that's an issue. I think maybe there's a confidence problem, there's a tactic problem, there's a belief problem, there's a communications problem, whatever it is. There has got to be a reason at Manchester United are 14th, and I don't just believe, or whatever we are, I can't even remember. I've not even checked the table recently, and I don't even. I stopped looking. I stopped looking at the Premier League table in.
You have to scroll down.
February last year, I stopped. But I don't think it's just a case of the players just need someone to come in and shout at them. I think it's a little bit more than that. I think it is.
Yeah, Mr. B, we've been through all this, haven't we? For the last 10 years, we're looking for success, and we brought in different kind of managers, different styles. I mean, we got to the point where we sacked Mourinho because he was so strict and bringing the discipline, which we felt we required. And then suddenly we got Ollie in to sort of appease the players, and that worked for a period of time. And then we fell back again. It's really difficult. I don't know how we're going to solve this problem.
Well, that's why they get paid the big money, and we just sit here and moan on our channels when we lose every other week. I say every other week.
I don't know, but there's a theme throughout channels about being negative about it. And I don't want to get to the stage where Arsenal were with Wenger out, that sort of thing. But as Man United fans, it's our responsibility, especially when we're doing channels as well, to sort of not be too negative about it. We are supporters, after all. We're supposed to be supporting the team. It's the 12th man thing when you're at the stadium. You don't want to be going there booing the players.
Yeah, but
is it? You know, or bring that added pressure and sigh when you get away and all that kind of thing. It's not good enough for me. You have to come better.
Yeah, but it's not a matter of booing the players. I mean, everybody has their own breaking points. I mean, you haven't been broken yet. You know, you will not bend. You know, and other people were gone, 360 days ago. So I just think it whichever way it goes, it seems like it's a mini civil war. You talk to some people, he's in. Some people are aggressive with it. Some people talk sense and make you understand why he should be there. There's a lot of negativity, but at the end of the day, we all love our club, and you all want our club to be in exactly the same place that it was. We say 15 years ago, to be fair, but everything goes in cycles. It's just that we're in the bottom run of that cycle at the moment. We're trudging through the shit at the bottom. You know what I mean?
Do you have faith in Monday? Do you reckon that Erik ten Hag will turn this around?
Yeah, I haven't been. Everyone knows on this channel I've been really positive about it. I always try to look at things. We can only speculate, can't we, Jay, about what's really going on? You said a lot in your little piece just now about what you speculate and all this stuff you can't prove, but there's evidence of bad tactics and players or whatever. So what I found interesting is quotes from players where they give a little bit away. I know Bruno Fernandez made a quote the other day when he's away on international duty, talking about being away with Portugal. I love the food. I love playing here. We've got great players around me. The harmony's good. And they've translated that as, well, it's no good food in Manchester. The harmony's poor, and you've got poor players or something like that, and the management's not good, And then Benny McCarthy was key for me. What he said about Ten Hag, meaning, all right, he's out of the club now, and this is someone who can talk freely. And he said, Ten Hag's a great tactical manager. It's just about getting the message over. That's the hard part about it, about delivering the message to get people on side and things. So when people say, "Oh, Ten Hag hasn't got a good system of play, we've got no identity," all these things, I don't agree with that. I think he's more qualified than most of the people saying this. Surely he's got some sort of tactical now. And Benny McCarthy saying that has worked alongside him to say, his tactics is like really high level. I think that speaks volumes, and the fact that they haven't sacked him is good as well, because INEOS, I think we don't want to make the same patterns as before, where we just sack someone and take steps back again and start all over again. That to me is not productive. So I'm happy to wait until the end of this annual year, by Christmas or January, and see where we're at then, and see if there's any improvement.
Yeah, listen, I respect anyone that gets behind the manager and backs the manager, and I'm usually that guy. I'll be honest with you, I lost a lot of faith over the last few weeks. I have. I looked at it. I looked at the start we made against Spurs before the red card. I thought it was very poor. I looked at the FC20 game where you can just sort of see the shift. It's like, again, basic mistakes, the lack of belief. Just FC20 are a decent team. They're not that good. You should be beating FC 20 when you go a goal ahead to them at Old Trafford. You should be beating FC Porto when you're 2-0 up against them. Again, a decent team, but they're not world beaters. And I just worry me. I'm getting the same feeling that I got towards the end with Ole, towards the end with Jose. I know Jose was slightly different because he basically sabotaged his own team, Jose, just doing things to just get himself sacked because he'd had enough. And I'll die on that hill. I think he genuinely did that. But it just worries me that this manager isn't going to be able to get these players playing the way he wants them to play. And I worry that it might have gone too far already. And I hope I'm wrong. And I hope we see it against Brentford. And I hope we see it against West Ham and Leicester and, Bodo Glimpse, whatever. You've got a real opportunity now between now and the next international break with a run of winnable games that you could really turn this around and just get confidence back, get a bit of a momentum going, get INEOS off your back, get the fans to a man and woman behind you. You could really do that. I just don't see it happening. I'll be honest with you. And I hope I'm wrong. And I will happily eat my words if we batter Brentford and we batter West Ham and we batter Leicester or we win those games. I just look at it and I feel it. I just feel like you said it there. You said, let's see to the end of the year. And I wouldn't be surprised if by the end of the year you see someone else in the dugout. That's my issue. I just think I don't want that to happen. I want Erik ten Hag to be a success. Yes, last season, right, was in the league was horrible. But if you gave me the choice, I know this sounds crackers. You gave me the choice of finishing higher up the league and not doing what we did in that FA Cup against Liverpool in that quarter-final and not doing what we did in that final against City, I would never swap it. I wouldn't. Those two games, I've been supporting United like yourselves. Well, not like Mr. B has been doing it a lot longer than both of us, but like yourselves for many years. And that was up there. Those two games, that Liverpool game, that 4-3, and that FA Cup final against Manchester City were two of the best games and the best feelings I've ever had as a Manchester United fan. And I've seen us win titles and trophies and European Cups and all sorts. But this was a season now to kick on, and I feel like we've gone backwards a little bit, and that's my concern. As I look at Erik ten Hag, I look at his body language, I look at the players, I look at the feeling, or sense the feeling around the fan base, and I just feel like it feels like the end game to me. It feels like we're getting towards the end of Erik ten Hag's 10 years Manchester United manager. And whilst I understand and I respect your confidence on one day in him and your belief of backing him, I just don't know if all the players have got that same belief and confidence. That's my issue. I just don't know if they have. And it just doesn't feel like a happy camp at the minute. It feels like a team and a club that is a bit directionless. That's the problem I've got.
You know something? It's like you sound like a deprived fan because you of the age where you're from the 80s. So an FA Cup in 83 and 85 was like, celebrating. It's like an Eddie Murphy joke, isn't it? About the crackers. When you ain't had a cracker for ages and suddenly you have one with a bit of salt on it, it tastes good to you, doesn't it? It's like you talk about the FA Cup win and beating Liverpool. You didn't mention Coventry, by the way, in the semi-final.
Do you know what? I'll tell you about Coventry, mate. Two things I want to pull you up on. For starters, I was 3 years old in 83, so let's just get that out there. Do you know what I mean? I wasn't sort of, in my heyday in 83. I was barely out of nappies in 83 there. Like, you said it like I was stood in the terraces. Like, you remember 83, Jay? Yeah, you was in your 20s, weren't you? I was 3 years old, but I get your point. Coventry as well, right? Here's one for you. I took my lad to the FA Cup final against City, the one we lost. Horrible. We sat down, we put our bucket hats on. I turned to him, I said, don't worry, son, we'll do these today. And as I was saying that, City were cheering. I looked up, Goodwin had scored, right? My bucket hat went flying. I was fuming. It was horrible, right? The next season, I'm looking at it, I'm thinking, right, I want to take him back to Wembley. I worked it out for, right, we could end up with City again in the final. Do I want to take him to the final against City if we lose? 2 finals, 2 City losses. He'll end up being a blue if I'm not careful. Or there's Coventry in the semi-final. We'll batter Coventry. It's an easy game. Yeah, we'll take him to Coventry so he can go to Wembley and experience a win with his dad. Nice. His second trip to Wembley. Happy days. 3-0 up. Life is sweet. We're taking selfies. We're buzzing. We're chanting. We're cheering. We're waving our flags. It's all great. This is a lovely moment for us both. Coventry score. Don't worry about that, son. Coventry get another one. Okay, don't worry about that, son. Coventry get a third. All right, stop crying, son. It's going to be okay. Don't worry. Coventry get what I thought was the 4th. We're off. We're going. We're leaving, right? Forget this. I'm done with this club. I'm down the stairs, right? Me and my lad are down the stairs. He's in
No
tears.
way, for real.
I wasn't alone because like before the game's over, it's a 95th minute winner for Coventry or whatever it was. Right? We're we're going down the stairs. He's crying, fuming. I've had enough. This is horrible. And then people start coming back up the stairs. Like, what's going on here? Oh, it's been disallowed. So we run back up the stairs, and I'm thinking, oh my God, please, United, don't do this to me, right? I can't bring you back up here, and we lose on penalties. And obviously, we won. But I was like, that was a close one. So forgive me if I don't bring up the Coventry game as a great example of being a Manchester United fan and the joy that goes with it, because that was very nearly one of the worst days ever. Honestly, I was never mind struggling to stop him being a Manchester City fan. I was struggling to stop him being a Coventry City fan after that one. Do you know what I mean? And then I made a mistake because we got to the final, obviously, against City, and I was in two minds about trying to take him, get a ticket for him, and I thought, I don't want to risk it in case we lose. And I wish I had took him, because obviously we won. But I'll take him to the next one.
So clearly, the turning point was the FA Cup final win. I think a bit like when the Mark Robbins moment against Forest, doesn't it? For Ferguson. From then, he sort of turned it around. And I think we're only 10 or 7 games into the season, so just be a bit more patient. I mean, it's going to take time. And the other point I was going to make is that I don't think that the players that we're signing, the transfer policy, we're buying players that are not fully ready to go, and they still got to develop. They're at that age like Ugarte and Xerxes and all these who still have something, to develop at the club, and they're not complete players as yet. So we just got to be a bit more patient with that as well and be on board with things. But I want to ask you one more thing, Jay. Do you think INEOS coming in, have they been communicating well with you guys? And do you think there's a lot of information coming out to clarify how things are going with the club and their direction? Do you feel there's a lot of clarity?
There's been a little bit. Initially, there was. I think there was certain dialogue between INEOS and the fans. Sir Jim Ratcliffe himself has been quite happy to get on camera and chat. We've not had much in the way of interviews with the likes of Dan Ashworth and Jason Wilcox. I will say this though, when we went on pre-season, we had a bit of press access and we went to open training and they were all there, all approachable, not to do an interview as such, but just to say hello to. So you saw Dan Ashworth there, you saw Jason Wilcox there. I was at an event where Omar Barada was there, I was chatting to everyone. So they've been approachable and they've been certainly more visible than the Glazers ever were, or ever are. So we've seen a little bit of that. I think there has been an interview with Omar Barada recently, but the problem you had with that was he gave it before the Liverpool game, and it was all about backing Ten Hag and how Ten Hag's the right guy. Then we lose badly to Liverpool, and people look at it and go, does he still feel that way? Does he still feel the way that he felt 4 hours ago? So that kind of undermined that interview a little bit. I think had he given that interview post-Liverpool, it would have carried a little bit more weight. Obviously, it still carries weight because he's the CEO of Manchester United, but people were sort of questioning it. Well, does he still feel that way? So I think INEOS have been visible. They've spoken to the media. There's certainly a better openness than we've seen under the likes of, when the Glazers were there with the likes of Richard Arnold and Ed Woodward. I know he gave some interviews initially. I know Richard Arnold met them fans in the pub, but I don't think it was quite as transparent. I think the issue you've got isn't necessarily the INEOS are being transparent. I think the issue you've got is until results turn around, the rumours are never going to go away. The only way you can quash these rumours properly on Eric Ten Hag's future, on who the next manager is going to be, or whether INEOS is going to stick with him, is by getting results. And I think if you get results, if you can get back into the top 4 conversation, everything will be okay. I think until that happens, though, if you're still in the bottom half of the table, almost week by week, there's going to be rumours circulating that he's done for. And even if INEOS come out and say he's our guy, we know that can change. We know if you go on a bad run or if you're in the middle of a bad run and it gets worse, that can change. So I just think he needs to, I know it's an obvious statement. It's not exactly the most revelatory, but he just needs to start winning football matches. That is it. You win football matches, you shut up all the noise, and we can move forward as a football club. And I hope he does. I hope he does.
Do you want to touch on some comments and maybe we can just jump on them as well, Jay? So talk about age, but Adil's here. He's saying, great to see you here, Jay. He's a big fan of you guys.
Yeah, thank you.
Kieran's saying here, I was born in '83. I do remember cheering when we scored, though. Sue82 saying here, I was born in 82. It's everyone's showing their age now. Sport United from 94, been blessed. But my dad told me about the 70s and 80s, all Liverpool, we were getting only FA Cups those times, weren't we? But Simon is born in 63. He's an old boy. And he's been a fan for over 50 years. Wow. Until you witness relegation, you don't know the pain. Obviously, Simon would have witnessed that. Was it 73 or something around that time? MUFC, Realist TV, how you doing? Does it feel like a big disconnect between fans, manager, and team at the moment, struggling to stay positive as you, Jay? That's a fan.
I was at obviously I've been to a few games this season, and the Spurs one was tough. It was. It felt the fans, and a lot of it's difficult when you're in the ground as well, because a lot of the anger from the fans that day was aimed at the referee. It was aimed at Chris Kavanagh, not necessarily the manager and the players.
Right.
But so when there was a lot of like reporting, all the players got booed off, and they didn't really. I think the referee got booed off, and then because I was there near the tunnel, and that was aimed at him. And then when it was just the United players, a lot of them were getting applauded, but there was a lot of anger and disillusionment in the stands at what we were watching. And again, even before the red card, Porto was a similar thing as well. There was a little, bit of that when we were 2-0 up and coasting, and then to let them back in the game in the way we did, even though obviously it ended on a high with that late equaliser. So it is a bit of a struggle to stay positive. And I think we're in this weird position now as United fans, where I am, just personally, where I don't blame you, OMONDI, for being positive, backing the manager. I respect that. But I also understand completely people that look at Manchester United finishing 8th in the league, sitting in 14th, whatever now, and losing back-to-back home games 3-0, and just saying it ain't good enough. I get that. I think, I don't think it's ridiculous one opinion or the other. I don't look at you and go, what's wrong with you? Because we've seen it before with Manchester United and with Erik ten Hag when he's turned things around. And we've also, we've got standards where you can go, this ain't good enough. So it is a weird one, because you're sort of in that rare moment where I kind of see both sides of the argument. Usually I'm completely one or the other, and usually it's fully behind this manager or behind the manager. I just worry with Erik ten Hag, and I just think now is the perfect opportunity. If you're Erik ten Hag, you look at the fixtures and you go, Brentford at home, difficult game, but it's winnable.
Yeah,
I think I'm not getting these in the right order, but you've got Leicester twice, I think, at Old Trafford in the Carabao Cup.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
In the league, you've got West Ham away. Again, it's a tricky one, but it's a winnable one. You've got Bodo Glimt and Fenerbahce. Again, these are tricky games. Fenerbahce is going to be a tricky one, I think, against Jose. But these are games that you can win. They're not beyond the realms of possibility. It's not like if it was, say, City, Arsenal, and I don't know, if we were in the Champions League or something, Real Madrid or whatever, you go with no chance. You can win these games, and you could turn it around. You could go on a run between now and the next international break, where you've got everyone back on board. You've got, okay, calm the noise. We're all right. I'm struggling to see whether that's going to happen, if I'm being brutally honest.
Are you still going to home games, like regular home games?
Yeah. I had a bit of a season off last season. I only went to about 7 or 8 home games last season. Yeah. I was doing a lot more on the channel. This season, I spoke to some of the lads here and I said, look, I want to get back at going to games every week and go into the home games. I don't really do many aways. I did the Porto game just because I wanted to I was meeting up with friends as well, and I wanted to go to a ground I'd never been to before and stuff. But I think I've done all the home games apart from Barnsley so far this season. Ironically, the 7-0.
When you're abroad, you went to Porto recently, and I know abroad, when they've had enough of the manager, they wave the white flag. So I don't know if they actually literally do wave white flags, don't they? So what's going to be a big indicator for us? Because I don't go to Old Trafford, but I think the guy next to you, what would they start doing to sort of say
it's not necessarily a scientific sort of experiment, but once you lose the match going fans, you tend to be done for as a United manager. Yeah. They tend to be. And again, it's not, there's outliers and there's exceptions to the rule, but by and large, you usually get the match going fans will back the manager, and they're the ones right to the death. But we've seen it. Remember Watford, Ollie's last game, the fans had turned. Remember Bruno saying, don't blame the manager, blame us. Anfield under Jose, the fans turned. Goodison and Moyes, I think the fans had gone. before that, if I'm being brutally honest. But when you lose the match-going fans, usually that means it's the end. And let's not forget as well with INEOS, they're in the stands. They're in the middle of them fans, not sat in, they're not stood next to me in the Stretford or whatever, but they're in those stands. They're hearing the crowd. Sir Jim Ratcliffe's referenced it before he even took over as manager, as part owner of Manchester United. We see them all the time. They're hearing that. They're getting the vibes from the fans. Whether that weighs on their mind or not, I don't know, but they're certainly hearing it. Yeah. Woodward wouldn't have, or maybe not Woodward, but the Glazers wouldn't have. They were never there, really. So that's another thing where you think if the fans have turned against the manager, the match-going fans have turned the manager, that could affect INEOS's thinking. I don't know. We'll see.
So lastly, I want to just drop on this point. Obviously, we're playing Brentford. Internationals are over and done with. I'm not impressed with it. I don't really watch international football anymore.
No, I don't either.
But well done to England the other day. And Angel Gomes, just quickly on his performances, how does that make you feel, seeing a young gun like that who used to play for us sort of performing well, and he's hot property now?
Yeah, he's doing well, and it's good to see. I like Angel Gomes. He's a good kid. I used to really admire him when he was at the academy.
Yeah,
watched a little bit of him. He played a little bit further forward then than he does now. But it was part of, there was a few players that were sort of well thought of at the time. There was obviously Mason Greenwood, there was Tahith Chong, and there was Angel Gomes, and there was someone I used to rave about Angel Gomes quite a lot. He was a very exciting, neat and tidy player, very diminutive, obviously very small. He's always been like that.
Yeah,
but,
tiny.
He was tiny, but he was a joy to watch as a kid, and I was looking forward to seeing what happened with him. It was a little bit disappointing when he moved on, but I got it. And I think that for me, is he the answer to all United's problems? I'm not so sure. Will he end up back at United? I doubt it, but you never know. I think he got his deal ends in the summer.
That's right. Yeah.
So it's not beyond the realms of possibility, but I don't know if he's exactly what Manchester United need right now in that midfield.
Okay.
If he came, I'd be happy. I wouldn't be gutted that Angel Gomes has returned to the club, but I'm not sure he's quite what Manchester United are looking for. But it's good to see him doing well because he's a good kid, and he's obviously doing well for England. It makes me laugh though when I see this sort of nonsense where anyone plays well for England in that role, people start dissing Kobe Mainoo, and I just think, just shut up, man. You see it all the time.
Everyone's been saying that Kobe's having a poor season this year, like he's dropped off or something's going on. I don't see it personally, but it's just like, people love to chat. Lastly, I was going to ask you about this. Obviously, we're building up to the game against Brentford at the weekend, and we are struggling. You were talking about left backs when I came on the show, but Eric Ten Hag has already played Johnny Evans as emergency left back with Luke Shaw, Malacia, and now Moroccan Maz out. What would you do? You're manager for Saturday's game. Who you put at left back for this game with what we got available? What would you do? Put your manager jacket on, Jay.
I was talking about this before, and I was saying I liked Harry Amas, what I saw in pre-season. I know he's only 17, but he's a good kid. Do you throw him in against Brentford? Probably not. I think had he played more first-team games, had he played more than just pre-season, you might be, because he's a very confident young lad for a 17-year-old. Speaks very well as well, very mature. But I don't think he's going to come in for this. I'd be very, very surprised. I think you're probably going to have to play either Martinez or Evans there. And I think it's probably going to be Martinez. I think that makes a little bit more sense to me. Evans can read the game very well, but he's not got the pace, has he, for a left back? So I know, you might argue Martinez isn't the quickest, but he's quicker than Johnny Evans. So I think the best sort of solution for me would be probably going with Lisandro Martinez at left back. It's not ideal, but we've not got many options, have we?
Yeah, that's a tough one. What would you do, Mr. B, this weekend with what's available?
I'm playing Martinez.
All right.
I'll play Martinez at left back today. What's that saying about?
Someone, I think MUFC Realist TV says Lindelof. I wouldn't be surprised. I don't know if Lindelof fit. I wouldn't be surprised if he did that, because he's done it before, hasn't he, with Lindelof. But I just don't think Lindelof's a left back. I think he's had some stinkers there,
Right.
Like I know it's against City, so obviously it's but City at Old Trafford was a disaster. And I think, was it Villa at Villa Park where he struggled? And I just think that, I just don't think Lindelof is a left back at all. Maybe you get away with putting Delo at left back and Lindelof at right back. But he doesn't seem to do that. He doesn't seem to play Lindelof at right back. He seems to, when he does use him as a full back, he's played him at left back, which again, there's a bit of a problem. But I'm not a big fan. I'll be honest with you.
I think you do need that balance. I mean, you talk about putting Martinez there because he's left-footed, but he did actually play for the first time. Everyone was talking about, oh, Martinez can be a CDM for us, and that was all last season. They were saying that, and now they were saying, oh, he could be a left back as well. But we did actually see him play at left back just for some minutes earlier this season, and I thought, okay, that's a start. But yeah, I think that's the most likely option to put him there. But you just never know, do you? I can never. Do you do like we do call it the solo 11, where we try and determine what the lineup's going to be before the game, and we never get it spot on. We just can't tell with Ten Hag, can you?
No, this is it. You just don't know. I mean, again, he could. I mean, Randy's saying Anthony for left back there. Don't know about that. Andrew Williams asking, do I regret in backing Eric Ten Hag so fiercely? No, I don't, because this is what I was getting at before. You know, I wouldn't have swapped last season, finishing higher up the table for what we had in those cup games. That was the best moments, and I don't regret backing him. And I think after that, he deserved a chance this season. He did. I think to sack him after that would have been like, all you'd have heard now with the noise would be, we should have given Eric Ten Hag a third season. Eric Ten Hag won back-to-back trophies. Eric Ten Hag, why did we get rid of Eric Ten Hag? Oh, that was a mistake. He won us the FA Cup and we got rid of him. What was all that about? He deserves to be given a chance this season. And so far, he hasn't taken it.
I want to say hi to this young man. His name's Solo7.
Yes. Good to see Solo, my good friend Solo. One of the reasons I'm sat here, I never forget the time he messaged me and said, I'm a big fan of yours, Joe. Can you come on the channel?
Oh, okay. It's a shame. We miss you, Solo, and it's a shame you're not around anymore. But yeah, this is life goes on, doesn't it? And Mr. B's got some technical problems, guys. So we are going to wrap it up right now. Jay, it's been a pleasure.
Oh, is he back? What's going on, man? You're all right.
It's this. I've changed my internet again, and these people are just taking my money and taking the mickey out of me, man.
You know something? I was talking today about my insurance, my car insurance. I know I'm going off topic, but I'm saying this. And they say, it used to be for me, pay your car insurance and stay with them because your no claims it would lower the price every year. But it keeps going up. So I was told the other day, always change your car insurance every year. And then I spoke to a guy today and he said, no, you've got to change your broadband as well every year as well to get a better deal. But I just can't go with all the complications. It's like we're becoming a Chelsea, changing things, changing management, changing things. I like consistency. That's why I like the decision with Ten Hag right now to keep him on board. Yeah.
So don't change your manager, don't change your broadband, don't change your car insurance. Stick with it. No matter what deal they offer you, just stick with that. Yeah, that's the advice.
And don't change coming onto the Man United agenda, Jay.
Oh, yeah, I will do that. I won't do that. I'll stick with it. I love your positivity. I really do, man. I respect. Like I say, I respect it. Listen, you know what? On Monday, I hope you're all right, and I hope when was it? You said Christmas. I'll come back on the channel, and he's turned it around, and he's absolutely smashing it, and then that'll be the perfect time as well for Mr. B to go and do his Father Christmas impressions and do his little Santa grotto at the time as well. So it'll be happy days for all of us. Do you know what I mean?
And we do us a favour.
And me and you are laughing at Eric Ten Hag doing well.
Do us a favour, Jay. We've both got beards on the show. Do you think you can grow one for us?
No chance.
I'll say this to Mr. B. My lockdown beard is probably, and I've been through some things in my life, trust me. It's probably the lowest point of my life. That lockdown beard. Like, it was like a cross between a man who's just given up on life and who's having a bit of a breakdown. It was one of those ones. And the worst thing is, right, you see how Mr. B's beard, you can set your watch to it, right? It's thick, it's proper. It's like, do you know what I mean? There's no gaps there. It's like a carpet. It's perfect, yeah? Mine, it looks all right from a distance, but when you got closer, you see, my missus is there saying no. You know what I mean? No, praying, no, don't let him do it. It was like quite gappy, you know. You could see like little bits of little gaps in that, so it wasn't any good, man. It was one of those where it wasn't quite the beard. I got away with it because I grew it for so long. I grew it for like 3.5, 4 months, and then once lockdown ended, and once I went back on camera and I saw myself, I was like, got to go.
Did it get to these sort of lengths though?
It was quite. Yeah, it was like that. It was like quite long.
Okay, I'd love to see it. I'd love to see it.
Have you never seen it?
I've never seen you with a beard. It's always been the shine head morph, the morph head, you know. Tony Hart morph.
Right, stay on. Talk amongst yourselves for a minute.
All right.
While I find you a picture of myself with a beard. Yeah.
Good. Let's see this. You know what? Because I know I've met Jay when we've come up to the Man United game, and I'm tall, and I think he's just a little bit taller than you, Mr. B, isn't he? Because you guys are short.
A little bit taller.
A little bit.
Well, I was gonna say. Here's the thing.
I put him in my pocket. What you want about?
I was going to say, if you guys aren't happy, you guys don't seem. I know Mr. B's turned off with Ten Hag now. It seems like Jay is as well. So the stats actually say. Hold on, Mr. B. But the stats actually say that 6 out of 7 dwarves aren't happy.
They're not happy. I can't believe the amount of build-up he gave that as well. Old Trafford. He went through all that to sell that joke.
It's a long setup. But anyway,
I'm just trying
let's
to
see this picture, Jay. I want to see David Bellamy or
David Bellamy. No, there's a good contemporary reference for all the viewers that are under 40. Right, I'm almost there. Hang on a minute. Right, sorry, I know it's dragging on a little bit, innit? Apologies.
I can't wait to see this.
Right, so no, that's right. Hang on a minute. So there you go. There's excuse the pose.
Oh my God!
No way.
Looks like Zico. Looks like Kin, didn't it?
It's a big boy as well. There, look at that.
Oh gosh!
Yeah.
Wow! I wouldn't recognize you. I would not recognize you there.
No, that was like
proper, Brown.
That was proper lockdown tackle. That.
At least you're connecting the mush to the goatee and the beard. It's a full beard, proper beard.
Yeah. It was one of those where like, so you can see. Oh, you can't really see there. Like, can you see? Oh, hang on.
Slow. Oh wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, man. It was.
It
was a proper beard. Like, but then it had to go.
I'm more looking at the weight. How much have you lost?
The weight. There's a big lad there, wasn't I? Hey.
Wow.
Well, there you go. This is as well. That was the transformation.
Oh, look at the mush. Wow. That's not you.
That is incredible.
It doesn't look anything like him.
Yeah. It was. Wow. It was a strange time during lockdown for all of us. It was a different era.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Right. I think, honestly, I was. Yeah, I put on a little bit of weight. I'm not gonna lie. It was before my 10K heyday. Do you know what I mean? Now I'm out doing 10Ks every week. So,
good stuff. I definitely need to get on that. I need to lose some weight. So I'm always inspired by your running.
Mate. Listen, you carry it well, man. You're 6'9", so you're all right. It was like when like for us little 5'11s and 5'4s as Mr. B is, you can't carry that.
I can't argue about, so I'll just accept that one. I'll just have
At least you can grow a proper beard, though. Better than I can do. You see my effort. Jesus wept. People wonder why I don't grow it again.
All right, guys. Jay, as you don't know, guys, Jay's from the Stretford Paddock, and what a fabulous channel. It's been going for years and years and years. So make sure if you're not subscribed to them, make sure you do subscribe to the Stretford Paddock. I'm sure you are anyway. Wicked selection. Interviewing top guys as well. I love that Brian McClare, the Andy Cole interview as well. Just brilliant. You've got all access with Jay, and you're doing really well.
Appreciate you, bro.
Yeah, so enough respect to you, Jay. Jay, do you just want to? I've given you a shout out. Do you want to give us a shout out about how wonderful the Man United agenda is?
Listen, I've been coming on this channel for a long time, right? And what I love about it is we always have a laugh, yeah. We always do, and I love coming on the channel, right? I stay in the studio, yeah, and I love still in the studio.
Apologies again.
I come on there, and Amanda starts bragging about the fact he's at home and moaning about the fact he's been at work all day. Then Mr. B just gets off for half an hour. Like, oh, I've had enough of this. You're boring me. I'm gonna go and have my tea, right? and then comes back in a different outfit like it's just normal.
Yeah, I didn't notice that.
Like,
No, it's the same. I haven't changed.
Did you have a hat on when we first started this?
Yeah.
Did you? Sorry,
Yeah.
I'm getting confused. It was that long ago, I forgot. So it's only me who's sort of stuck through it. Do you know what I mean? It started off with Mr. B, me and Mr. B. He gets off, Mondi comes in. Hang on a minute. How you invited me on as a guest? And I'm the only one who stayed.
You know what? Imagine I didn't turn up. You would have been left alone.
I am so glad. I am so
Explain
glad.
yourself, Jay. Why did you back Eric Ten Hag? Tell us about your beard. Don't put it with me. Missy joining in. Don't get it on. Don't let him have that beard on again. Get it from everyone.
Oh, Lordy, Lord. guys, thank you so much, Jay. Enough respect, man. Enough respect due to Jay, boy. And every time, we appreciate you coming on. And hopefully we'll see you again real soon. Yeah, back to football, man. This week, man. So Brentford this weekend. So make sure you check out the preview coming up later in the week. And we've got a lot to offer. We're just filling in the gaps, Jay. We got the quiz going on. We've got a few funny things.
You top of the leaderboard with the quiz.
Well, you're the man when it comes to the quiz, still from last time out. So maybe I'm going to invite you on again.
He was that guy got aggy, didn't he? He got annoyed with me.
Yeah, he did.
He said the questions were too easy for Jay.
Yeah.
What is this? He knew them answers. You told him those questions were easy.
Well, we won't be doing that, okay? It's getting harder, Jay. So yeah, maybe you can come and set the bar, raise the bar for the guys then. But yeah, from everyone in the comments, thanks everyone for tuning in today. Enough respect to you guys. Big up to Bradley as well. Just seeing you with your flag. Said adios. Yeah, we're signing out. Simon as well. Born in 1963 he was. He's been a fan for years. He's a great steam as always.
Legend.
Thank you guys. And yeah, we will be back tomorrow at 9 o'clock, not at 8 o'clock because of special VIP coming on. We can do it at our normal time. But as for now,
that's so passive aggressive. That's not getting.
I've probably got speeding tickets now, Jay. I was trying to get home.
You know how passive aggressive that was. We can do it at 9, which is our normal time. We don't have to move it for Mr. Prima Donna here. Requested 8 p.m. start. Even though that wasn't convenient, we did it anyway.
So says the guy who said his dinner's getting cold. All right, we. All right.
My dinner's in the dog, bro. My missus has been in the chat. She's feeling.
Mr. B, Jay, thank you very much. We're signing out. God bless you guys. We'll see you tomorrow.